learning. Welcome everyone. Now, as we move towards the checkered flag, which we also hope will be a starting point for the all-important follow-up to this conference, we'd like to really bring together some of the key learnings and recommendations from yesterday and today. So we have about an hour, and there are going to be 6 presentations each. My maths isn't great, but I think that's around 10 minutes each. And so I'm going to start by calling up either, whoever would like to, Patricia Morris or Imtiaz Mukbil, to give us their recommendations, observations, findings from the session on media and ICTs building mutual understanding.
Sawadee-kap, good morning, Sasarikal, Namaskar, Shalom, Salam Alaikum wa Rahmatullahi wa Barakatuhu. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to take you within my 10 minutes limitation on a quick trip down memory lane. I was the rapporteur for the plenary session 1. My impressions of that was it was because it followed on from the opening speeches, which were all very enlightening. I think it sort of set the stage for a lot of things that we subsequently managed to discuss over the remaining 2 days, which has come up with a very positive, upbeat, solutions-oriented. I came away from that plenary session quite inspired myself, and there were a few things that stuck in my mind, which I noted down, which I'd just like to maybe pass it back on to you all. Because of the lessons, the new inspiring things that I learned from that. The session started off with Patricia Morris, who was the executive director of Piece by Piece, and as she noted, she started off with the central question about the need, about what are the ways to build mutual understanding through media and ICTs, which was the theme of that session. And as she pointed out, the conflict and war and violence are all basically man-made pandemics, which I thought was an interesting choice of words. And that the professionals will tell you that it is very difficult to avoid, and it is extremely difficult to do anything about it. However, she said we may make strides to combating it, but we can never eliminate it, according to what she was told. But she personally believed that these things are wrong, as the people are looking in the wrong place for answers to peace. Her presentation basically focused pretty much on the role of women, who she said are the key to sustainable peace and development, and very often relegated to the background. She also pointed out that women are the first to receive the brunt of conflict, but at the same time they're very much the first to lead grassroots movements of peace. As she said, if you want real and lasting peace, you need women. Women know that the hopes of families and communities can only be realized when they themselves are empowered, when their voices are heard and heeded. She pointed out the role of Piece by Piece, which is a whole network of connecting women online as dialogue partners across cultures and communities. Basically a linking of best practices, and as she pointed out, the power of women to build peace is growing. We next had a presentation from Nancy Hunt, who is the president of We Are Family Foundation, and she focused on the role of songs and music, noting that it had come out, the whole foundation had emerged from the events of 9/11 in New York. We Are Family, she said, and that the We Are Family became a song was very popular for political conventions and gatherings. The world needs to start the healing process, and your song can do that. She said she's got calls from all over the world, and there's, with 7 billion people on this planet, growing at 200,000 per day perhaps, this is one way of bringing people together through music and songs, is a way to bring people together. It was interesting, I noticed she mentioned that there were 2 words that had been hijacked. One was the hijacking of this, that if you were for peace, you were supposed to be against, in the United States, somehow against war. And the word family also became hijacked. And she felt that if we were to work on a project, that we needed to make it fun and cool. And here's how the three dots and a dash which is the V sign, and Morse code for the peace sign came together. It was devised to bring about the exceptional teenagers who are working for programs to bring about basic human needs, shelter, and how to tell their stories using the media. As she said, if you have the tools, but if the tools are not used properly and the stories are not told properly, the stories get lost and are not utilized well. So the idea, the key thrust is to continue to look for teenagers, young people, and teach them storytelling techniques, photographies, film, and also to speak to the media about the projects. So 3 dots and a dash, it's all about building peace, making people especially into big peacemakers through mutual understanding. Then we had our local professor, Dr. Srisak Chamonman, one of the key ICT experts in Thailand, who is the chairman and CEO of the College of Internet Distance Education at Assumption University. And he, as he described himself as being 72 years young, and a man who works 15 hours per day. He was one of the first to start this e-learning, distance education, and now runs a very thriving, after having considerable difficulty getting it through the government, which he said took him about 3 years to get approval for. So he's now got students from all over the world. He's also started an e-learning course for SMEs over his university, and he pointed out how the power of peace can be brought into all these various features by spreading geographically the ability for people to learn in different parts of the world, even if his money is a problem. One interesting thing that I thought he said was the creation of this song for people waiting to die. He said now we have a course on the internet on that. I didn't catch quite a lot of that, but I believe he mentioned there was a Royal Thai Navy Orchestra that was doing something about it. He also then went on to notice to point out the increasing penetration of countries. He said there are now 49 countries with more than 50% penetration of the internet, but that could go into the billions over the next couple of years. He also called on UNESCO to promote e-learning, noting that conflicts are everywhere, but even within Assumption University, these things all have to be managed because the university itself has got students from 80 different countries. There's always conflicts among people, but you can always find a way of managing that. Then we have Professor Katsuo Funakawa, who is the president of the Funakawa Information and Environment Technology Company. As he said the outbreaks of war and destruction, they have their origins in humanity itself. And because of that, he said it's up to humans also to be able to find solution and fix those problems. Because anything that can be, as he described himself, he said he's a technical expert and a scientific man, but also he's involved in sports and art and arts, and with a great appreciation for existence on what he called this Mother Earth, a water planet. He's been working in the ICT field for over 40 years, and he's watched it, all the changes that have taken place in human society as a result of that. He described ICT as a tool, precious tool of human networking, and also the importance role it can play in translation and interpretation of languages as a means of communication and bringing people together. He pointed out that ICT is just a tool, and it is eventually the people who utilize it and how they make use of it. One interesting thing that he mentioned was describing the internet as a system of blood vessels within the human body. And it's the blood and what goes through the blood vessels, whether it's the protein or the DNA. If the information is, at the end of the day, if all that is not in good shape, it can land up affecting the entire human body. One other thing that I thought was quite interesting, he said he didn't like use of the word debates, because there's always, a debate always lands up being a winner and a loser. Okay, thank you.